Hi there, everybody. It's Sheena here from KAPOW, your super business coach, with another fabulous episode in my masterclass series. Now, those of you who watch this regularly know that I love to do these. It gives me a chance to add value to people who are working with me, but also to add value to people who are not working with me yet, because I make sure that everybody that I get on my masterclass series is someone who I know and I trust, and more importantly, I know they know their onions. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Keith Barker from Keefomatic. Keith, do you want to say hello?
Hello. Yes, nice to be here. Thank you very much. If it wasn't for your nagging me yesterday, I probably wouldn't have this project to talk about. So thank you very much for that.
Yes, business coaching, otherwise known as nagging, which is exactly what my husband says about it. Funny that, isn't it? But there we go. Yes, indeed. Keith is one of my clients, and he is going to talk to us today about a way of thinking about lead generation that, when we spoke about it yesterday, blew my mind. I just thought, this is amazing, because just, so many people would not think about lead generation in this particular way. So Keith, do you want to, educate and amaze us all, tell people a little bit more about what we're going to chat about for the next few minutes?
Yep, no problem. Right, so what we were talking about yesterday, and what I do for my clients from time to time, is create lead magnets or lead generation giveaways to help them build their mailing lists. And one of the most successful ways I've done it in the past is by using their frequently asked questions files. Now, most people, and I know you have got, Sheena, you've got your frequently asked questions on a web page. And what tends to happen with those is that people will go along and read them, and then they'll go somewhere else. And so the problem with that is that if they're looking at your frequently asked questions page, then generally they're reasonably interested in what you've got to offer. But once they've clicked away somewhere else, you've lost them. You'll never know who they were, and you'll probably never see them again. So what I tend to do is to take the frequently asked questions file and do something else with it, and I turn it into a lead generation magnet, or basically a PDF. And we get people to give us their mailing information, I can't speak. We get them to give us their email address in exchange for the information which is in the frequently asked questions book. The reason why this works, I think, is because if you think about what your customers are doing when they go to your website, by the time they've got to your frequently asked questions page, they're actually reasonably interested in what you're doing. They've already looked at your site and said, yeah, this person can do what I want. Then you scout around and find a bit more information. You look at the features and benefits and think, yeah, this is great. And then you find something else. And you think, well, what else we've got? Oh, we've got some frequently asked questions. I'll read those as well. So they have a value to people, especially if they're interested in what you're selling. So what I do is I take them, and as I said, I'll turn them into a lead generation thing. And then we're able then to continue a sales conversation with those people. Otherwise, you just lose them. So that's the basic premise of what we're talking about today.
And that is what blew my mind yesterday. Was it was the proper epiphany penny drop moment, was when I thought, he's absolutely right. Anybody'd think he knew a thing or two about marketing. You have those frequently asked questions on your website, basically because everybody tells you should, don't you? It's the whole, really easy, pop it all on a page. But of course, it was that moment where I thought, yeah, Keith's right. People are going to go and read that, but then there's no way that I get to know who they are and be able to carry on that conversation underneath. One of the questions that I asked you yesterday that we talked about a little bit, I think might be helpful for some people who might be listening and thinking, I love the idea, but I don't really know what my frequently asked questions are. What kind of tips could you maybe give them to think about how they could embrace that concept?
I mean, I can't imagine a business that wouldn't know what their frequently asked questions are, because people must ask you questions about what you're offering. And they can be as mundane as things like, do you offer a money back guarantee? And, can I pay in installments? And what else do you do? And what happens if I don't like it? These are everything that you answer is kind of like a little mini objection in somebody's mind that stops them buying from you. So if you can just overcome all those objections one at a time, then you'll end up with a file of probably, I don't know, a dozen questions. But I mean, the way that I've structured these for other people is, even though it is a frequently asked questions file, we kind of dress it up a little bit better. So there's one I'm going to talk about later, which I did for an architect. And literally it was all the questions they get asked about what happens if you want to have a house extension. But we just called it everything you need to know about house extensions. So it's not called an FAQ file anymore. It makes it sound a little bit more interesting. So if you maybe think about it from that side, what would people actually like to read about as well? You know, what do people ask you all the time, and also maybe what don't they ask you, but what would you like to tell them?
Now that's a really good point. I like that. You know, they might not ask you the question, but there might be something actually that's quite key to what you offer that you would like people to be aware of before they take that next step. That's, you know, that's a really clever way of looking at it and putting it all together. So you've spoken a little bit, Keith, about how you've done this for a few different people. Do you want to tell me a bit more about the architect's practice and basically how that came about, what you did, and how it all gelled together?
Yeah, so back in 2017, I think it was, started working with a local firm of architects, and they asked me actually to help them with email marketing because they hadn't done any. And they thought they should be doing it, but they just never had. And it's quite a long, involved story, but basically I went in and I said, before I do any marketing, I need to do an audit to find out where you are. So I did an audit, found out where they were, and it turned out that their website, which had just been redesigned by somebody, kind of didn't talk about their services at all. It just assumed that everybody knew what they did. Mm-hmm. So I said, right, you need to create a load of new pages. You've got 6 services here. Nobody knows what they are, and there's no sales page, there's no nothing. So I wrote the sales pages. I got customer testimonials, which we'll come to again in a second, for a load of clients. And I created these basically frequently asked questions files for them so they could build, and in the end, it was 4 new mailing lists. And so that's what we did. And then 15 months later, we just sort of reviewed it and said, right, how's it going? Oh, the second part of this, by the way, is that once they'd signed up to the mailing list, then they got a monthly newsletter. So that was the lead magnet is one thing, but then you've got to do some work afterwards. So 15 months later, we assessed it, you know, who'd signed up, and then we looked at the new work that had come in, and it turned out that they'd done £80,000 worth of new business through people that had signed up to these mailing lists. And 15.7% of people that actually downloaded something bought something. So those are people that would have previously looked at their frequently asked questions page and then disappeared. So that's how powerful it is. And that's why I've turned it into a little product, because, and again, this is thanks to you, because I wouldn't have thought of doing it otherwise. But I just thought, what can I offer people? And I just thought, oh yeah, it's one of those things where if you work for yourself, you're so busy doing the work, and then sometimes something really good happens, you think, that's really good, and you do a little celebration dance, and then maybe you put it out on social media, and then you forget about it, and you go off and do the next bit of work. And I did this, and must have put this on my website 2018, 2019, and just completely forgotten about it. And so it's really good to actually sort of dig it out and say, yeah, actually it's quite good. Yeah, so that's the architect story anyway.
And I think one of the things that I picked up when we talked about this yesterday that also just made me go, you know, have a hallelujah moment, was as you were talking about the architect case study, one of the things particularly that you talked about was how you helped them understand about creating multiple lists. And I work with a number of people who have multiple income streams. That's becoming much more the norm, these days, certainly over the last couple of years, is, having different ways to generate income. And we were talking yesterday about, segmenting your list. And I wonder if you would just mind, with your proper expert and not Sheena winging it head on, just explaining a little bit more about why you should think about that if you've got multiple product or services.
Well, if we use the architects as an example, they were offering various different services. So they're offering house extensions, they were offering new build houses from scratch, they were offering barn conversions, and they were doing commercial development. Now, each of the people wanting those services have got completely different sets of requirements. Somebody that wants a house extension doesn't want to know about how to build a shopping centre, and vice versa. So there was no point having everybody in one big list and then just shoving out loads of information, because most of the information that we would have been sending would have been irrelevant to, say, somebody that wanted to be a commercial developer. They don't want to care about, permitted development on extensions. So it makes perfect sense if you're selling something specific, to make a list of those people who are interested in it, and just talk to those people that are interested. Otherwise, you're kind of just wasting everybody's time. People won't read your newsletter or your marketing if it's not directly aimed at them.
And it's such a simple thing that, you know, I think it's like all things. It's a combination of what you said of, you know, when you are running your business and you are doing, you know, wearing every hat, doing every job, all the rest of it, that the easy path is sometimes the one you take because you feel like you can't do anything else. But, you know, if you are offering multiple products, the key thing for me was thinking, you know, if you don't want to go to an underwater basket weaving course, there's no point telling people about it. And, you know, by segmenting a list. And I think as well, quite a lot of it with email marketing in general is, you know, that the quick route is what people sometimes think is going to be the only route. But actually segmenting a list doesn't really take all that amount of time, does it? You just need to have an idea of what different chunks you want to put your list into, don't you?
Yeah, and it's depending on the software you use, it's really quite straightforward. So I use MailChimp mostly, and you just tag people. And if they're coming in through, I don't want to get too technical, but if they're coming in through a particular set of instructions, like they're downloading a particular thing, then there are APIs that get involved, and you can separate people either by the API that they used, which is what we did for the architects, or just tag them and do it manually. Depends on the size of your list, I suppose. But it is really quite straightforward. It's a lot easier now than it used to be maybe 5 years ago. And there's no excuse not to do it, really. I mean, my list is quite small because I've only just started making my own list because that's how things work, the cobbler's shoes and all that. But it's still segmented into clients, colleagues, and suppliers. That's how I have mine done at the moment. But then as I get a bigger list, I'll start doing it into graphics clients, web design clients, marketing clients. At the moment, because it's such a small list, I don't do that, but that's certainly how it's going to go.
And we talked as well yesterday about, you know, first of all, the first bit that blew my mind was, frequently asked questions. That definitely needs to be something that is a lead generator. But you also, you know, were talking to me about something that also tripped my trigger, which was thinking beyond a testimonial as being, well, effectively a happy sheet. Talk to me a little bit more about that again, Keith, because I thought this was brilliant.
Well, what I do with these lead generation things is, because I think a list of FAQs on their own is actually still quite dry, and you could do it and it might be okay, but I've got a system that I use for collecting testimonials, and I use it for myself, I use it for my clients. It's really good at getting really sort of compelling testimonials that go into a lot of depth about your service. And what you get, if you get a really good one, is that they sell your service for you. They sell what you do better than you can sell it yourself. And the reason for that is because the words aren't coming from you. People are kind of conditioned to look at your stuff and think, yeah, but I don't like being sold to. Once they start reading customer testimonials, they're not being sold to. They're just reading somebody that's a bit like them. And if you can get the testimonial to explain in a lot of detail about what they were thinking about when they came to you, what their problems were and how you solved them, and what they thought was really good about the service, you come up with some absolute gems of stuff that you would never come up with yourself. And they do literally sell your service for you. So what I do with these testimonials, frequently asked questions things, is I include 2 or 3 testimonials as well. So that not only are they getting the information that they came for in the first place, they're getting a little bit of subliminal selling from basically people like them, which it's a 3-stage process, and that's stage 2.
Right, go on then, you can't leave us hanging.
Well, once you've got your testimonials and you've got your frequently asked questions, then the last thing you have to do is package it up. And to package it up, all I really mean is you've got to turn it into an attractive product that is professional looking, that looks like it's come from so it's the kind of thing you'd want to consume and the kind of thing that you might want to share with other people. And all that really means is designing it to look like it's your own branded stuff with your logos and your colors, maybe some photographs, and turn it into looks like a printed booklet. The one that you can see behind my head is an example of a lead generation PDF. And all it is that's actually for a different company. That's actually not FAQs, it's something else. But it's attractive photographs. That customer testimonial behind my ear is one of the ones that I got from my system. And you just turn it into something that looks like a book and then make a PDF out of it. And that way, when somebody downloads it, it's actually got some value to it. You know, it looks like not only is it valuable information with extra good sales stuff in it as well, but it actually looks the part. And that's, I think, that's basically what I'm offering, is to try and make it, collate it all together and make it look really, really presentable.
It's awesome. And just, before I ask you to tell everybody who's watching a little bit more about that, the question that I think people would probably be asking at this stage in their head is, where then do I put that? And, one of the things we spoke about yesterday is how, having testimonials and frequently asked questions on your website is great, but it is this static content. You're not actually getting to see who's going to look at them. But with your marketing experience as well, Keith, if you've got this, fabulous downloadable PDF that combines the frequently asked questions along with a couple of testimonials, where would you say people should think about having that or sharing it to start to generate that lead sense of funnel filling coming in?
It's the kind of thing that will go on your sales page, to be honest with you. You usually see an invitation to sign up to a mailing list on a sales page, in amongst the thing that you're trying to buy. If you're trying to sell widgets and you're trying to get people onto your widget mailing list, then you put it there. What you do with the lead magnet is tie it to your mailing list. So that's something that gets done either on your website or actually off it on your mail software. But you literally just have a picture of it. Say, would you like to download this? 101 things you didn't know about widgets, whatever it is. Please sign up here. The one thing you do need to do is to get people's permission to send them marketing, because of GDPR and all that sort of thing. You can't just send them spam these days, unfortunately, as much as we like to. So you get permission. It's sometimes content marketing is called permission marketing. It's the same sort of thing. But yeah, so you would include it with your sales information. And I've got it in a couple of places because I'm giving away on my website, my testimonial system. I put it on my testimonial page, but I've also got it on the home page. So put it wherever you like. Put it in your email signature. Put it. I always say this to people when they've got a little bit of something really good about their business. What shall I do with it? Well, just put it everywhere. See what people like. Yeah,
exactly. Certainly what's occurring to me, love the idea of putting it in your email signature. That's a really good one. Obviously you could include a link to it in your social marketing, making sure that link's going back to your website and you're not hosting it on a social media platform, or you're just advertising them, and that's silly. But making sure it's going back there. You could put it in a mail shot. You could, all of those sorts of things. You could even drop it, couldn't you, the link to it in a networking chat if you're networking online, just to give people the opportunity to find out more about what it is like, to work with you and answer those questions. I'm sure that
one of the places I put it actually is on social media, but on your, you've got your own page, and there's always like a sidebar where you can add things to join my mailing list. You can just add it there as well.
Yeah, absolutely, because I think a lot of people, the words I want to use are, they look at each piece of their sort of social media platform as a separate piece. And, I'll talk about this here and I'll talk about that there. And if you think about bringing it all together in a way to get people onto your mailing list, that's where you get to talk to people about how you can help them, and they're engaged, and, all of that stuff that I've talked about with various other people through masterclasses, and I bang on about in coaching quite a lot at the same time. But, I'm sure there are a lot of people who are looking at the image that you have got behind your head and thinking, I could never do something like that. So why don't you hit them with it, Keith? Tell them what your offer is to help get something magical out there.
The way it goes is basically, how do you turn it into a lead magnet? You can do it two ways. You can do it yourself, or you can get me to do it. And I'm quite happy for you to do either, because I've given you all the information and the system for getting testimonials. If you want to do it yourself, go for it. If you want me to do it, then I will. I can do it for you. Excuse me. It comes in two options. Either you give me all the information and I design it for you, or you give me all the information, but I'll get your testimonials for you as well. Now, the first option, the design-only option, is £99 for every PDF that I make. So if you've got 3 services and you want 3 of those, it'd be 3 times 99. If you want the design plus the testimonials, they're £149 each. However, because this is a masterclass and we're giving away offers and all that sort of thing, if anybody comes to me and says they saw it on the masterclass, I give them 20% off.
Awesome. I saw it on the masterclass. No, it's that's fantastic. And I think, genuinely, if you're watching this and thinking, what I want you to think about is, Also, the investment in your business by taking Keith up on one of his offers. You know, this is what Keith does. So the time it will take Keith to create a beautiful PDF that does exactly what you want it to is going to take him far less time to do that than it will you, giving you time back in your business to work on those testimonial follow-ups, those frequently asked question follow-ups. You know, creating something like this, using Keith's expertise to give you this beautiful document, all of that is wonderful. However, you will be completely wasting your time and money if you then don't follow up on whoever it is who has downloaded. So, you know, what Keith is offering you here is this amazing tool to get people on your list. What you then need to do is to make sure that you are following up with them, adding value. Don't, please, for the love of God, go straight in with the whole, thank you for downloading the frequently asked questions, now buy my stuff. You know, don't do that. But nurture that relationship. And Keith's offer for what he is prepared to do for you today is the first step in that process. I certainly know that I will be having a conversation with Keith about doing that. After speaking to him yesterday, I just thought, I should be doing that with mine. You know, so that is definitely something I'll be taking him up on. Keith, thank you so much for giving up your time to come and talk to me and the people who will be watching this today. I mean, you know, I so enjoy doing these series. I learn something every single time, and also end up spending quite a lot of money, which is a good thing. And you know, if you want to take Keith up on his offer, which is fantastic, at the end of this masterclass, there will be the usual information slide that will tell you all the ways that you can connect with and get hold of Keith, and also where you can find out how to take him up on this amazing offer. So Keith, again, thank you for your time. Is there any little nugget of wisdom you would like to leave our masterclass viewers with today?
I need to really reiterate what you just said then. Once you've got your lead in place and you start emailing people, it's a slow process. If you expect it to be a slow process, then you'll get a lot more out of it. On the marketing stuff that we do to the architects, we didn't sell them a single thing on the emails that we sent them. It was all to do with helpful information and case studies of what they were doing. It would just keep people interested, and they will come to you when they're ready to buy, not when you're ready to sell. That's the thing I think I sort of take away, really.
Yeah. Oh, that is the golden nugget right there, you know, and it's the absolute truth. And as long as you keep talking to those potential clients, so you make it really easy for them to find your till when they are ready to buy, then everything comes together into what we're all looking for, which is more customers, more business, and basically more money in our pocket is what it's all about. Otherwise, you're just wasting time, which is fantastic. Keith, that was brilliant. I will be talking to you about putting my order in, absolutely, because I think this is a genius idea. Don't hang about, folks. If you're watching this and you also want to take up Keith's amazing offer, use the information at the end of the masterclass to get in touch and take him up on it. Keith, again, thank you so much for your time. Everybody, keep your eyes on the prize. You know that I release these frequently throughout the year, as well as reiterating some old friends from years past masterclasses. So keep your eyes on the Member Vault site where you'll find new ones coming up. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.